Oh boy, what the hell is this? Well, you are listening to the pilot for a yet-to-be-named podcast that will occasionally feature here on Lanooski.
Lanooski podcast, it doesn't have a name yet. We'll let you know when we come up with one.
I am Lanooski, or Dylan, or Noosk, or Nooski. If you're listening to this, you probably already know who I am. But for those who miraculously do not, I am a dorky McDorkerson who cut his teeth on filmmaking, indie filmmaking. May or may not have made that his whole personality for the first 20 years of his life before pivoting to more big boy, wider world, expansive ideas of philosophy, culture, morality, I dare say, while also getting further fulfillment and insight out of the arts, primarily music. I can safely say I'm more versed in music when it comes to like the trivialities of who made what and how. But that foundation for filmmaking is still there, hence why I'm still here on YouTube. These days I make video essays, which I've condensed into short form content, that being content capsules and pop pockets, which function as little op-ed and review formats, 1 minute or less, for the enjoyment of people who slide their thumb from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen. That's the TLDR of who I am right now. Plenty more to go into, but that could be, a source of discussion for future episodes. But I wanted to first hop into why I am doing this. For one, the feature is there, and being no stranger to recording hella long content, be it, audio, visual, or just audio, the idea of having a separate tab to upload that sort of thing to without upsetting people who subscribe to this channel for, something else, be it the video essays or the short content. It'll be tucked away comfortably into its own dedicated section. I think it's about damn time that YouTube had such a, sifting of content for people who wanted to experiment a bit. I definitely prefer the short form stuff, not least because, this is terrifying. I'm doing fine, but this is also my fourth attempt at trying to record this little pilot. It taps into a different part of your brain. It forces you to ramble and be cohesive while rambling, which is a bit more revelatory of your day-to-day, minute-to-minute personality, which is kind of lost when you're cramming a bunch of sass and articulateness into videos, especially shorts. The shorts will have a vastly higher amount of sass in the coming weeks, and I apologize. I'm just kidding. I don't apologize. But the option to do a podcast is here, so I'm going to take advantage of it. It'll allow me to break up the monotony a little bit, and it'll satisfy my craving to publish something. Because God knows, life can get too busy to hit the publish button or the upload button, especially right now since, drumroll, wonder if that got picked up. I'm moving soon. Yes, little old me, pushing 30. I'm finally moving out of the watchful eye of my rents, who have graciously allowed me to live under their roof for as long as they have. Yet, no doubt, probably want to be able to just focus on them for a while I focus on me. It's happening. Me and my partner, the latter, of course, being the reason we're moving out in the first place because they managed to snag the property that we're going to be moving into. We're doing the thing. We're doing the adult thing. And once moved in, once we're settled, and once I acclimate to living on your own life, live life, living life, it'll perhaps get a little easier for me to make a creative schedule for myself to practice that illusory discipline of just doing the work and putting the stuff out regularly. Having a space to call your own, like to safely practice a craft or discipline, I have no doubt that goes a long way. It's been all but confirmed for friends of mine who have moved out into their own spaces and who carve out these attractive quarters to, edit or practice music or simply vibe. Vibing is a underrated art of its own. Just decorating a space and being able to close out the wider world to exist solely in the now. Like that's entire books are written about that shit, you know? Any dang way. Enough rambling. I think I had another bullet point to hit here. I'm reading from a journal currently that I ordinarily use for doing my daily pages. The daily pages are a pillar in the critically acclaimed artistic development handbook called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I first read that years and years ago. I want to say 2015, 2016, and that was instrumental in terms of how to be creative, how to let yourself be creative and vulnerable, and in a state where good ideas come and you're able to harness them into something cool. My ability to do so definitely improved after reading that book. I've attempted to reread it several times since then, but I always get maybe halfway through before being like, I'm too busy, I can't do this right now. But the one thing that's been a lasting influence is journaling, and yeah, I don't always do it, and lately when I do it, it's only 2 pages instead of 3, but the idea is to get something to paper the old-fashioned way, whether it's complete gobbledygook or actual ideas, something that's bugging me, something I'd like to do, just chewing on the brain cud, as it were. Doing that often enough allows you to keep in contact with your creative self on the inside. Your child, your inner artist, that sort of thing. She uses a lot of that language throughout the book, which will either do it for you or it won't. For me, it's fine. I'm a little beta bitch boy myself, so I have no problem calling myself a precious flower, or doing a little scrapbooking experiment where I take my critic voice in my head and make a little monument to it and then fucking burn it, or whatever the prompt was in the book. It's filled with stuff like that. When I have the time and energy and focus to try it again, I think I'd get more out of it now that I'm nearly 30 than I did when I was in my early 20s. Because I have a far firmer sense of who I am and what I should be doing. It's getting to the act of doing that's been a little tricky, as you can no doubt ascertain from how I'm struggling to make this pilot podcast. Ew, bullet points. But life gets busy. Life will be chaotic or demanding enough that I can't sit down and do my usual thing of, having the idea and writing it out and then recording it and then putting visuals on top to capture the eye. I'm not going to be able to do that. And frankly, the longer I do that, the less good I get at doing the stuff that's more long form. And while it's harder than anything to do something long form entirely by yourself vocally, I don't doubt at all that Mark Maron or Bill Burr took years to get good enough to carry whole shows by themselves. I mean, they have the structure of probably more organized bullet points than I do, and being able to answer listener questions and stuff to kind of have a bounce board and not have to talk nonstop and think while you're talking. That's certainly part of it, but it's a skill that I would like to build up. And as said, this isn't my first rodeo when it comes to this sort of thing, because I did used to record podcasts and junk back in the day with my friends. It was a mixture of podcasts and Let's Plays, which are just podcasts with visuals, in my opinion. But not long into college, while getting more and more invested in... I'm a Game Grumps fan. I'll just cut to the chase. I like Game Grumps. I'm very fond of the 2014 to 2017 period, because that's kind of where I came into my own as an adult and someone who makes things. But on top of that, I just admired the work ethic and the polish put into the projects that the various members of Game Grumps participated in. And it was through their former editor, Barry Kramer's tutorial on how he would edit an episode that I started to get interested in, the truly technical side of editing. I'm very self-taught in that regard. It's just a mishmash of whatever I experimented with in a select handful of tutorials and philosophies that I come back to when I need, some inspiration or a reminder of why I do what I do. Monkey see, monkey do, and when see podcast, when see let's play, monkey do podcast and let's play. So I did a fair few of those with my friends, as I said. Podcasting-wise, it was mostly one-off discussions about individual movies or just topics pertaining to them, with the Let's Plays, which are a far more stimulating bounce board for ideas to talk about. I'll leave links to pretty much everything I discuss pertaining to what I used to do or have made in the description once this is over. The first iteration of my podcasting history was the B Team that I did with my friends Jacob and Steven. We eventually rebranded to Broken Shades Limited, which roped in other friends of ours, Griffin, Ratcliffe. Hey buddies, I'm doxing you. Your lives are ruined. But those were some really fun projects. They forced me to make branding, do some graphic design, and just, finish a thing, which did stop eventually, because God knows it's exhausting, and I wasn't making any fucking money off of doing that. Eventually, I had to go get like a real-ass job that I still have to this day. But it was enough for me to realize that, yes, when afforded the time and focus to make stuff like that, it's really satisfying. And it taps into a part of yourself that's much truer to how you are day to day, minute to minute. And as much as I like the stuff that I put out on my YouTube channel, I would love to have a more casual, less high stakes way of interacting with those gracious enough to listen to me, to just listen to me, like me, not video essay Noosk, not wannabe comedian funny man Noosk, not PNG wiggle waggle around the screen Noosk, but like me, like this is closer to me. The only way to get closer to it would be to drink while doing this and maybe having someone on here to talk to, which I'll probably do in the future, just to make it a little less stress-inducing. All this to say, I do indeed have a gift for the gab, as was told to me by my friend Biodegradable on another podcast that I'll leave links for, called Monochromie Homies, which is a conversation between me and fellow The Right Opinion editors Cold and Biodegradable, as I said, who's also edited for me a ton, and they're both great. They're real tight internet homies, and we have a very specific chemistry that we tap into when we talk to each other. And I'm really proud of those, because the aesthetics that we were able to whip up there were super fun and cool looking, and it's chill, and we're good at improv, except we're not really good at it. I'm decent at it, but it's like the dissonance between good improv with what the fuck are we doing that's given us some of our best bits. And that's another reason why I like this format. And speaking of this format, I would like to use it to kind of expand upon things that I explore in my mainline content, because there's only so much you can cram into a video essay, let alone 1 minute condensed capsules and pockets. While I do think I do a pretty good job of expressing my thoughts on something in those uploads, sometimes I want to go a little bit deeper just to clear up any ambiguities or unsureness as far as what it is that I think about the topic on a deeper level. And this would kind of give me a way to do that. If I were to break this thing up into segments, which would be pretty cool, it would allow me to jump down one rabbit hole and then bounce back up to talk about something else. Maybe record at different times and through different means and create like a collagic effect. For instance, I'm talking into my Audio Technica microphone right now, but suppose I'm out and about and want to record something and I want to use my phone. Like this one right here, this here recording. I'm doing it exactly where I was when I recorded this main audio that you're listening to. I have multiple means of just replicating what I just did on external software and microphones, but I don't want to. Sometimes I might want to, but sometimes I don't want to. Right now, I don't want to. To be in a state of I don't want to is liberating and makes you not have to worry about lugging around a bunch of equipment, and it makes it much easier to yeet yourself into a car. You don't even have to explain anything. You can just go and drive. You don't have to explain shit to anyone who's driving in there with you. This is going in.
Is this going in?
Yeah, it's going in. Don't even act like I'm fucking kidding.
I hate you so much.
I hate myself more than you. I can do it, and it would be a pretty seamless way to stitch together different segments, which would be cool. And then, I dedicate one segment to just kind of give my opening gab, and then I switch to a conversation I had with someone else, and then maybe I follow it with a sketch. Maybe I do some fucking audio comedy. The world is my oyster. And if I've learned anything from that phrase, it's that you can use oysters for a myriad of things. You can make pearls with it, you can eat it, You can collect them on your shelf to stare at you with their eyeless, faceless faces. You can fuck them. Oysters. Nature's pocket pussy. Bullet point. I think I've more or less said everything that I wanted to say with this first episode, so I'll go ahead and wrap it up. I hope this was at least informative in terms of why I recorded it. I hope it was able to justify its own existence. I'm no doubt going to put some pretty chill music under the whole recording just to make it a little more bearable for those curious enough to listen to it. As for when I'm going to record another one, who's to say? Again, I'm moving. I've got a pretty busy season of work that's going to start up eventually, so maybe once that's up and running and I'm short on my usual content, that'll be where this comes out to play a little more often. But yeah, if you're a long-time subscriber, I appreciate you. If you're new to the channel through a short of mine that you liked and followed for, great, I appreciate it. For you buckaroos in particular, I recommend checking out my TikTok because on top of a lot of the content you find on my shorts feed here, there's occasionally stuff that's gonna stay on there, at least for a good while, till it bounces over here, you know. Little memes, little memes, little sketches, little bullshit throwaway shit posts on there that are a bit more friendly to the talking and ticking. If you're hate listening to me, suck my fat one, but also I love you. Like on a purely platonic, humanistic way, not in like a, that other way that makes babies come out sometimes. What else? If you're like a real one, if you're an IRL or a net buddy who's listening to this, hey, I think about you sometimes. Depending on who, maybe like a little more frequently than others because we talk. But maybe if we don't talk, maybe if it's been a while, I think about all of y'all. It's like a fucking Rolodex spinning in my head. I'm just gonna fade out very, very slowly as I do this final ramble. The whole time I've been recording those, I've been listening to the synthwave boy as his dog's in the background, and having stuff going into my ear while I'm attempting to do this makes it a little easier. Okay, I hit the 20-minute mark on the raw file. This is as good a time as any to just fade into the music. Goodbye, everybody.